Welcome to Good News Week, coming tonight from the Wayne Carey nasal cavity as part of the 2008 Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And the big news? No. Dogs. Dogs. And not just any dogs. Hero dogs. In Queensland, a Staffordshire Cross and a Rottweiler have received the RSPCA's most prestigious bravery award after they saved the life of a lost toddler. Aww. Police describe the dogs as four-legged angels. Other Rottweilers describe them as gay. The dogs, Tank and Muck, pulled 2-year-old Max out of a dam, dragged him to safety and stood over him barking for help until it came. Help! Stood over him barking until help came. Or pulled him into the dam to give him a rinse, dragged him out and stood there calling to the other dogs, "Come and get it!" But they still receive the RSPCA's Purple Cross, which recognises animals that show outstanding service to humans. Max's mother, who left a 2-year-old near a staffy and a rotty and a dam, will not be getting a medal. In Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe has lost control of Parliament for the first time since taking power 28 years ago. Yeah, feel free. But just like every other election since 1980, that won't necessarily affect the outcome. And he's refused to concede complete defeat. You never know. There might be some sort of terrible accident where the leader of the opposition trips and falls onto a volley of bullets. What I want to know is who's voting for him? Who's going, our country's a wreck and there's an elderly fascist in charge, but we're still going to put him back into power? I mean, that could never happen in Australia. More than 3 times in a row. Here's another good idea. Defence Minister Joel Fitzgibbon has ordered Australia's military to start taking work experience kids. Another brilliant idea from our work experience government. That's right, Year 10 students will soon be defending the country. No one tell Indonesia. Then again, think of the fun you could have sending the work experience kid out for a left-handed grenade. And he comes back with no left hand. The government believes defence can't attract young people into uniform. For some reason, Generation Y doesn't want to die supporting the illegal invasion of a country to protect big business and their lust for oil. Kids these days. Anyway, the government says army recruitment is failing and work experience is a great way to meet targets. Soldiers. And that, my friends, is the good news.
It's good news week. Someone dropped the bomb somewhere, contaminating atmosphere and blackening the sky. It's good news week. Someone found a way to give the rotting near will to live, go on and never die. It's good news week. It's good news week.
How Mariah Carey was that moment?
What are we trying to do, avoid the radar over Berlin? It's like gay Christmas.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, in a warm, gentle downpour of free plugs and tinsel, the star of Storybook at the Bosco Theatre in Federation Square, Claire Hooper. The star of Bewildered at the Comedy Theatre, Will Anderson. And the star of Possessed, also at the Comedy Theatre, Frank's on first, then stay around for Will, Frank Woodley. And they're looking strangely at the transgender man with female reproductive organs who's having a baby with his lesbian wife, Mikey Robbins.
You've been waiting all week for that, haven't you?
You don't get that many opportunities to say that. The star of Out of Order, right here at the Town Hall, Corinne Grant. And also performing here at the Town Hall, one of the hottest stand-ups working in Britain, the strangely not British, Reginald D. Hunter. How's the fezzy going for everyone?
Wow, it's quite, it's good. I don't recall hearing much booing, and I got a standing ovation one night. Well, is it a standing ovation if you can see their backs and they're kind of walking away from you? I think that counts. I'll take whatever I can get.
I know it's going well for me, and obviously the name of the show is getting out there, because we have people, our production company has people who stand out the front and give out flyers, and I got flyered for my own show.
I think it'd be quite good if you could make it.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool, man. I mean, it's been real relaxed, chill. I mean, I ain't seen no police. I ain't seen the cops since I've been here. And I heard Australia was, can be a bit racist, but I ain't seen no racism since I've been here. So I guess keeping the ethnics out of the major cities is a pretty good move.
It's working a charm.
That's right, babe.
Yeah. Shall we get stuck in? Everyone ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, round one is What's the Story? Claire, Will, Frank, get into this. It's...
All right. I reckon Luna Park's really let itself go, hasn't it?
It does look like a fun land for refugees. It's not Hollywood on the Gold Coast, it's Villawood on the Gold Coast.
Maybe it's like, if the refugees riot and they get hosed down, it's kind of wet and wildly frustrated.
I'm not sure you want a wet and wild word for refugees, because halfway down the waterside they have to throw their babies overboard.
I think they don't throw them overboard, but somebody else later says they did throw them overboard.
Yeah, in fact, if it was a refugee fun park, they wouldn't have one of those things where they say you have to be above this height to go on the ride, and it'd just be John Howard going, I'll decide who goes on this ride and under what circumstance.
What are we doing after lunch? Craft? We're going to sew our lips up. That's... But is it a refugee... It's not a refugee fun park.
No.
Well, it basically is, isn't it?
Oxfam are doing a great thing. They're trying to give people the experience of what it's like to be a refugee and actually be inside the things that they're going through. So they're basically trying to go, hey, this is actually what happens to these people, because most Australians don't know what it's like to be, locked up in a confined space and, be humiliated and tortured. Well, unless you've been on Big Brother.
They do have it. 10 points to start them off. Ladies and gentlemen, they do have it right. Oxfam Australia is giving people the chance to experience life in a third world refugee camp without venturing out of Albert Park. Or you could just go to Frankston. Although, Melbourne, if you want the genuine third world experience, Adelaide. The refugee camp is so realistic, Madonna and Angelina are now trying to adopt poor, disadvantaged Melbourne babies. Mikey, Corinne, Reg, off you go.
Right, what do you got here? Oh, yeah. Yep, it's those guys in the sheets. And him.
Oh, hello, love. That is the girliest runner I've ever seen in my life. Even I run in a more masculine fashion than that.
Have you ever seen Paul go to the shops?
That torch wasn't even lit, was it?
Actually, it's obviously about the Olympic torch. But I actually took part in the Paralympic torch relay when it was in Australia. And it was at the Campbell Parade in Bondi. You came down, it was quite a steep hill. And as I turned around the corner, I weighed about 145 kilos at the time. There's a little thing called momentum. And I looked at the little 12-year-old girl I was about to give the torch to. I thought, this could end very, very badly. Get out of the way. But she was all right. But
So we had Tibetan monks, we had our Attorney General, and the Olympic torch relay. So this has got something to do with the Beijing Olympics. So I figured that out all by myself.
It's about the Chinese are worried that there will be demonstrations during the torch relay.
Yes, so they have offered very kindly to come over here. They want to send their own troops over here to protect the torch.
Or the Japanese tried that years ago.
And Robert McClelland, our Attorney General, has turned around and said, "Why don't you piss off?" I think he said it more politely than that. That's why he's Attorney General and I'm not. I would have just gone around, "Sorry, you idiots."
And Reg, how do you feel about all that?
I look at those pictures and I recognize the Tibetan monks being mistreated. And then at the end, I recognize that there was Olympic torch practice. But I don't know who the white dude in the middle was. I don't know what relevance he has to anything in the other pictures. He seemed kind of handsome.
You could move to Australia. Nobody else here knows what he is or what he does either.
Wow, immigration standards here are kind of low, ain't they?
They do have it right, ladies and gentlemen. 10 points for them as well.
You feel our heat, don't you? We coming at you now. You feel it. No fear in their hearts.
I just love listening to you talk. Your voice is so manly and just deep.
I'm on to you, buddy. I know that trick. It might work with the chicks, but not with me, buddy.
Saying to a chick, "I love your voice, it's so deep and manly."
Reg, could you just lift your right arm like that? Lift your right arm like that up, Reg? Could you do that?
Yeah, I could.
Just
do
like
that.
that?
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Yeah, all right.
That's the most shit bling I've ever seen in my life.
Did I just hear you say bling?
That's the first time I've ever said bling.
It's going to be the last as well, isn't it?
I think so.
Bling,
Yeah,
I swear to God.
maybe. Oh, no.
Won't let black folks keep nothing with you.
Reg D. Hunter. About half an hour ago, before the team started talking to each other.
Yeah, who are you, by the way?
He's our Attorney General.
Let's all just try and focus for a second. The Beijing Olympic torch arrives in Canberra soon, and China wants to send troops over here to make sure the relay isn't disrupted. They'll also bring 245 million armed school kids on work experience. It'll be a rerun of Tibet. China will just move in, causing the enforced exile of our spiritual leader, Bindi Irwin. Still, at least the torch relay is better than their original idea of setting fire to a monk and just watching him run all over the world. The good news is the troops' idea has been rejected by the federal police, but Kevin Rudd has reassured the Chinese government in Mandarin that naked chickens in our bathroom today, Mr. Princess. So after one wind-assisted round of Good News Week, the Hooper team are on 10 points, the Robbins team are on 10 points. During the break, as we didn't receive 1 cent from New Idea, both teams were given 3 clues to a recent strange but true story. Hooper, Anderson and Woodley have smoke,
That was seamless.
It's like Shane Warne breathed out.
Actually, that could work quite well in terms of like if you want to smoke, but you don't want the bad health effects. You could just sort of get it, you know, because you want to look cool.
Yeah.
So.
I reckon it's for young Frankston mothers who can't be in the car all the time with their children.
Okay, this might be a little harder. A mouse.
I feel like a really evil children's TV character. Jeff's not waking up, Jeff's dead.
Well, why is it attached to the desk? Is that like a bank mask?
Sorry, it took me about half an hour later. I go.
Because at the bank they attach things to
the pen and everything. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's a mouse mask.
Yes.
Is it?
And I believe this might be a chord implying that later it'll be about a computer mouse. But let's save that for later, shall we?
Oh, right, I see.
I think these ears are realistic, and also the sound is. Hang on. So cute. That sounds just like. Oh, why are you wrinkling your nose?
I just know that Will's going to use that mask later tonight in an inappropriate way.
Where's this
How
bit
could you
going to
use
go?
that in an inappropriate way? Yeah, baby, where's the cheese?
Maybe it's time to move on and hopefully get as much enjoyment and thrills out of this song.
Wake me up before you go. I'm not planning on going so long. Wake me up before you go. Take me dancing tonight. I'm gonna hit that high. So. You guys have to get out more. You really do.
They could well be the best clues we've ever had to any strange but true story in the history of this or any other game. Moving on, though. Robbins, Grant and Hunter got homework.
Oh, hysterical. I just smoking a can of funny mask and him dancing. I get someone's homework. Well, comedy gold. Comedy gold.
And now, false teeth.
Do I have to put these in?
Eventually.
Wow, so it's obviously about Mercedes Corby.
And to finish up.
A song, right? I go, so she had to wait, but it was too late. Don't look back in anger, baby. Don't look back in anger, baby.
So that's Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis.
Was it?
It was.
That was the original version on the Black Album.
Well,
I just want, I thought it might change some people's lives or something.
well, thanks for that, Reg. To start round 2, a game called 1,000 Words. No right or wrong answers in this one, just points for creativity. Should be absolutely fascinating once again. Hooper team, we're after your best captions. For these newsmakers, first photograph, please.
Damn you, Paul McCartney. If it wasn't enough you divorced me, you've glued my hand to my head.
No, she looks like she's taking off the mask and revealing her secret identity. Underneath that mask, it's Yoko Ono.
It looks to me like she's trying to quieten the other voices in her head. Like, it looks like she's talking to imaginary loopy people.
Actually, I think she's trying to remember Ringo's phone number.
Shall we move on? What about this one? For the Hooper team.
I think clearly they're traditional dancers. I recognise the outfit, actually. They're Polish dancers. So he's doing a similar thing as what Mr. Rudd did a while ago, and he's hanging out with pole dancers.
A lot of people...
Oh, no, hang on. They're from Lapland. They're lap dancers.
You can't really tell in this photo, but like if you've seen the whole photo, you'll realise that it's actually John Howard wearing that hat.
And this photograph?
This is brilliant. This looks like he's only just discovered that the gym equipment John Howard installed is a bit too short for him.
I've always thought, when you see Question Time, I always think, they act a bit like children. I had no idea that when they take a break, they head out to the... Actually, just off camera, Julia Gillard's giving Malcolm Turnbull a wedgie.
just think he's overjoyed because he's found the only 3 people that like him.
Who is he?
That is what the rest of Australia is asking as well.
I think that's the best answer.
The Robbins team, for you. Let's see that snap. Oh!
It looks like the caption ought to be, "This time it's personal."
I reckon the Queen, for the first time ever, has tried her own earwax.
Did you see what that nasty Mr. Bush was doing with my hat in that other photo?
Should we have the next snap?
Yeah?
Say my...
Obama chooses running mate.
You can't get blood from a stone, but you can squeeze it out of a baby.
1 point. I'm going to give you a point.
That definitely looks to me like pregnant man delivers own child.
I'm going to give you a point. They're running away with it.
Give him a point for that.
It's okay, kid. I'm not Michael Jackson.
Who is he?
Shall we move on? The last snap?
Dear God, yes. You're doing... I reckon he's given her the palm.
Yeah, he's
finger.
doing... That's exactly what I thought, too. He's doing that slippery, wet finger thing in her hand.
Yeah, I think he's saying, I enjoyed the bush I saw last time more than the bush I saw this time.
It just looks like he's answering her question after she asked him, "Who are you?"
I actually think he's saying, could you please come and look after my kids, Mrs. Doubtfire?
That's it. Thousands of Australia's best and brightest are gearing up to head to Canberra to chew the fat about our future with Kevin Rudd, or to give it its official name, the 2020 Smug-Off. The irony of a summit called 2020 being held by a guy who needs glasses. The sad thing is, 8,000 people nominated for the summit. This means there are 7,000 Australians who thought they were the smartest people in the country. And now know, officially, they're not. But there's one main reason those 7,000 were rejected. They nominated themselves. Apparently, if you're willing to voluntarily spend an entire weekend in Canberra, locked in a big room with 1,000 over-opinionated egomaniacs, you're clearly not one of our brightest.
Isn't Corinne going to that?
Yes.
Strangely enough, I know there's been a lot of talk about, they shouldn't have celebrities on. Then I went, oh, I'm a celebrity. I didn't know that. That's good. That's good, yeah. It would make sense if I was on the towards a more creative Australia panel, but I'm not. I'm there to talk about the economy. And my main tenet with the economy is $1 for a bag of mixed lollies is too expensive. We should go back to 20 cents.
Up next, So You Think You Can Mime. Time for the joy of movement called So You Think You Can Mime. OK, Frank Woodley, come and get your mime topic.
OK,
Yeah.
let's find out.
OK. Your time starts now.
I think I may venture into racial stereotypes here, so if I offend people, I'm sorry. But
All right, you're talking a lot. Germany, a German plane, a German...
Nazi.
Germany? A German fighter plane? A German airline?
German pilot. Yeah.
Okay. A man's a pilot.
Oh,
German
right.
pilots.
Two fighter pilots. Two pilots.
Two pilots. Two pilots are playing cards with their hair.
A barber.
Hair?
Oh,
Hair.
right, like a really sharp
Red
knife.
knife.
Very sharp knife.
Knife. Okay.
So...
Cut off his arm. Blood. Blood out of his arm. Someone bloody arm.
Okay.
Okay, they're making blood soup. Blood sausage. Are they putting blood in a sausage, in some human arm, in a sausage?
No, that's basically...
Don't talk. Blood, yes, bleeding. We get that, but we don't know what else.
Your blood. You
okay,
ate
you've
your
eaten
own
yourself.
blood pudding.
A cannibal.
Yes! Frank Woodley, ladies and gentlemen.
That's pretty much it.
Do you want to construct a sentence using it?
A couple of German pilots
Yes.
ate themselves.
Hey, black pudding they made from themselves.
That's exactly it, ladies and gentlemen.
Why is it always the Germans? Why?
That was so good and so succinct that normally it's only 10 points, but I'm going to give you 15 because it was extraordinary.
You're a skin evil little dwarf.
With a tiny bit of power. Two German Air Force sergeants are facing court-martial after drawing their own blood to make black puddings. The men stirred their blood in with a mixture of onions, bacon, spices and breadcrumbs, according to a recipe from one of their grandmothers. Apparently she was part of the little-known Nazi SSS, the Secret Sausage Squad. She also had a recipe for liverwurst, but you can only make it once. Liverwurst, step 1, fill the bath with ice. 43 points now.
That was good.
It's almost unstoppable. I don't think they can get there now. It's going to be interesting because Mikey is one of the worst mimes the world has ever seen.
See, look what you've done. Look what you've done.
He's miming broken inside very well.
That's maybe because he is.
Now for the Robbins team. So you think you can mime Mikey Robbins?
Thank you. As much as I would love to prove you wrong with my wonderful miming abilities, but I would like to bring to the stage two men who do know what they're doing. The Umbilical Brothers! Suck on that one, Woodley!
You set me up, you bastard.
OK, here we go. OK, here's your mime topic.
Yes. Oh, for goodness. It's like a combination of the obvious and the...
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to mime.
Oh, okay. Bungee jumping?
Bungee jumping, speedboats.
You shall not pass!
Oh, New Zealand!
He's making words come out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's better than most mimes. They can't do that. Okay, you're in New Zealand.
And we're bungee jumping.
You're drunk. You're two drunk Kiwis. Okay, Helen Clark.
You're drunk and you're making a phone call.
Two drunk Kiwis made a phone call. Oh, okay. and you received the phone call.
Oh, and you're a policeman.
You're complaining to the police.
Yeah, you're
And
ringing the
police-
coppers. You're hammered and you've rung the police. Always a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so you've told the police that you're drunk and you're a New Zealander, and this is somehow a crime. What?
And you've got a dog?
You have a dog.
Something is happening on there. Oh, oh! You're being attacked in a sexual way by a small animal.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, two words. Two syllables.
Two syllables.
Two syllables.
First syllable.
You're giving birth to the dog.
Enormous.
Worm.
Second syllable.
Worm. Second syllable. A drunk guy phoned the police to say that he was being shagged by a wombat.
A New Zealand man has been sentenced to 75 hours community service after he called police and falsely claimed he was being raped by a wombat.
Oh, I've had $1 for every time I've made that phone call.
Arthur Craddock, aged 48 and not 13, as you probably thought, told police the assault was taking place at his house and he required assistance. Well, it's more convincing than his usual explanation, which is I was changing a light bulb naked, then slipped and fell on my wombat. But police later found out the wombat sex was actually consensual. Arthur only cried rape when his sheep came home unexpectedly and caught them at it. And would you please thank Shane Dundas and David Collins? Their show, Heaven by Storm, is on at the Athenaeum right now. Please go and see it, the Umbilical Brothers. We call this game Spot the Bull. 3 alleged statements from a newsmaker, but only one was actually said. Spot the Bull, find the truth. It's as simple as that. Will, singer, actress, inflatable toy, Jessica Simpson, put on a show for the US military in Kuwait recently. Did she say, I love Afghanistan, I love your dogs? Or I'm enjoying all the troops, having a blast? Or I know you guys are going to catch Obama bin Laden.
I don't know, like, it's interesting sending Jessica Simpson to the troops, isn't it? I mean, haven't they suffered enough?
It's a classic.
It's one of those things that, so they've sent her over, she's been entertaining the troops, and I don't think it's I love Afghanistan, I love your dogs, definitely not. It could have been the third one, that does sound like something that Jessica Simpson would say, but I believe that Jessica may have implied that she has been the victim of some very friendly fire and said, I'm enjoying all the troops and having a blast.
Yeah, I think that's it. For sure.
He does have it, ladies and gentlemen, 5 points. Yes, while she was in the Middle East, the blonde bombshell Jessica Simpson said, I'm enjoying all the troops, having a blast. Jessica was also exploding with delight and bursting with excitement because there were so many soldiers to shoot. Though I think she meant bang. She complimented one local fan on his dynamite vest and said, after the show, they'd all probably end up legless. Jessica said she was spending most of her spare time shooting Iraqi civilians because she just loves photography.
Please stop!
I think it's time for...
Haven't they suffered enough?
All right, ready to spot some bull, Reg?
Yeah, let's buy some bull, man.
What did Rolling Stone Keith Richards say recently about the band's legendary fondness for groupies? The girls like me, the boys like Brian, and the kids like Bill. I took some bird to Egypt once. Think I forgot to bring her back. Or it wasn't just boinky boinky. They used to rub Vicks on your chest if you had a cold.
Oh, they sound believable, don't they?
Anything coming to mind, Reg?
No, as a matter of fact. Just, I don't know people who communicate like this. Let's see here. The girls like me, the boys like Brian, the kids like Bill. I like that one. And I took some bird to Egypt once, and I think I forgot to bring her back. When y'all say bird over here in Australia, y'all mean women too?
Well, yeah, occasionally, yeah. Sometimes we mean bird.
If you hear someone say clean out the bird cage, we don't keep our women incarcerated.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Do you ever have a problem with groupies?
No, I mean, groupies I've met have usually been very friendly people. Oftentimes, they're very friendly, very open, very warm. They oftentimes, you know, if one decides to stay over and spend time with you in the evening, pretty good about making up the bed when she leaves and everything. But I have found that some groupies, though, they stay too long, though, man. Like, you want them to go home and everything. Like, you've been as nice as you can to them. You know, you spent time with them. You made them a sandwich. You listened to the stories.
When you say you made him a sandwich, does that mean...
Oh, I understand. In the country I'm from, sometimes we take 2 slices of bread. and we put a naked, drunken woman in between.
Hell, I don't care what you say, you've got the 5 points already. So do we have a little bit of procrastination? Do we have an answer?
I reckon it's the last one, but I don't know.
I don't care, I just want to hear Reg talk more.
I'm gonna be a man about it. I'm just gonna pick number 2, man.
Okay, I'm going with Corinne. She's right. Congratulations, team. Yes, in the early days when the Stones met the groupies, it wasn't all boinky boinky. They used to rub Vicks on our chests if you had a cold. It was also hanky-panky, naughty-naughty, rumpy-pumpy, jiggy-jiggy, itchy, stiffy, burny, wee-wee, and probably herpes. Over there now, 48 points. Over there, 45 points. Strange but true. Coming up next.
It's Good News Week.
Time for the journey back into the world we call strange but true. Claire, Will, Frank, you had the scintillating smoke.
Oh, yeah.
The mouse.
Yes. And wake me up before you go. So,
Can't be bothered standing up this time, Frank. What's the story?
Mean? Smoky mouse, wake me up. It's like, don't know.
So I think it has something to do with this. I think it has to do with people ignoring fire alarms. Like it has to do with people not hearing them.
Oh, so the wake me up is like the fire alarm is meant to wake you up.
It's meant to wake you up, but kids apparently have deep sleep patterns, and when they hear the doot, 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 they just go, oh, hit snooze, 5 more minutes, right?
Right,
and they don't get up.
And the mouse?
It's because, well, here's the thing.
Specifically, mouse children.
They're doing it on computer. Hence the mouse with the thing. It's a computer study by a university trying to get... I think what they're trying to do is get people to volunteer, and then they're going to wake up their kids or set fire to their house or... I'm not really sure...
That's really disappointing, because I want there to actually be a mouse in the story. Can we do a story where there's actually a mouse in the story?
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but for some reason I've gone mental.
All right. How about this? Once upon a time, there was a little mouse who looked after all the big people in his house by when the smoke alarm needed its batteries changed. The little mouse would get a message on his computer that said it's time to change the batteries, and the big people in the house didn't even know that he would climb all the way up with a battery under each arm. And then he would change the batteries and the people would be safe for another winter.
And that's our answer.
I think it's tragic when the actual props are clearly more funny than the answer. The first answer from Will was the right one, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank God for Will.
Victoria University is conducting a study to see how effective smoke alarms are at waking sleeping children. Researchers want mums and dads to tiptoe past their sleeping kids and set off smoke alarms to test their effectiveness. The boffins prefer that the kids aren't told about the fire drill in advance. That spoils all the fun. But this experiment could save lives. I mean, do it, say, 3 nights in a row, and you can be sure the children will survive a fire because they will never sleep again. The university would do the experiments themselves, but they're not allowed near children anymore. Mikey, Corinne, Reg, you had the homework,
Huzzah!
the teeth, and finally that haunting unfamiliar refrain.
So she had to wait to masturbate. Don't look back in anger. So she went to the store. She fell on the floor, but she's not looking back in anger.
Yeah, free expression.
The haunting image of a woman angrily masturbating will stay with me forever.
This is an American story, and there's a couple of hints. I think the false teeth refer to an old person.
The elderly.
The elderly, indeed, because that's what happens. You know a fair bit about the story, Corinne, don't you?
I know that, bless. Someone had gone to their anger management course and they were on the bus on the way home and an elderly person did annoyed them. So they beat the crap out of them with their anger management homework.
Which I believe is the definition of the word ironic. And fun.
So that's what we think it is.
Yes, Reginald.
I think.
One of the best ways to be able to tell a groupie is... if they come up and start the conversation by saying that they are not a groupie. I am not a groupie. I don't want you to think I'm a groupie, but...
And the other one is the stalker. I'm not a stalker, but... And the only thing the stalker doesn't have is the benefits of the groupie.
It depends, like, if, you know, like, it depends on what your stalker look like now.
Well, see, that's less a stalker then, and more a potential marriage candidate. A life partner.
Sir, your truth would cure deafness.
They do have it right, ladies and gentlemen. In the US, a guy called Justin is facing jail after using his anger management homework to attack a 63-year-old man at a bus stop. Sadly, using the anger management homework isn't Justin's first offence. Last year, he used his maths homework to calculate the volume of a solid obtained by rotating R around the x-axis, then used that solid to bash someone's head in. The maths kids will be laughing at that for months.
That is a very, very funny joke.
I just heard Adam Spencer piss himself.
He still has that problem then?
Yeah.
After the break, I promise you, the biggish finish. Dirty, sexy, fast money, ladies and gentlemen, still to come. This is it, Dirty, Sexy money. This is where it all comes together, ladies and gentlemen. Which idiot politician said, while it was tough for families to be evicted from their homes, we should also feel sorry for the banks? Brendan Nelson. He has it right, ladies and gentlemen. In Gaza, on a TV show for Palestinian children, what did a puppet do in the name of revenge?
Blew itself up.
This is the fast money round. I'm going to throw it over here. Anybody know? Anybody know?
In the name of revenge.
The Palestinian children's show, a puppet did what?
Stand back or I'll cut my strings.
A puppet got his revenge by sticking his hand up a human's ass.
Very close, in fact, stabbed George W. Bush to death. Who is Thomas Beattie, formerly known as Tracy
Pregnant Man.
Logondino?
Oh, yeah.
Is he a pregnant man?
Pregnant man, you have it right.
Pregnant man, coming soon to Channel 10.
The woman who had a sex change and became a man but kept his female reproductive organs and is now pregnant.
That is the definition of a hoarder right there, isn't it?
I'm going to give you an extra point. Why is Formula One official Max Mosley angry?
Because he's finally figured out his sport's dull.
I'm throwing it.
Oh, sorry, because he got caught reenacting Nazi scenes for sexual pleasure.
Correct.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He was being spanked by a woman dressed as an... I know this one, yeah. Those are not good stuff.
A British newspaper claimed he and 5 prostitutes had a sadomasochistic orgy with Nazi overtones.
Man.
Max says the Nazi bit is wrong.
Anytime a man needs 5 prostitutes, you just gotta respect that.
We're going to move on, ladies and gentlemen. They both did extremely well, though they were clearly the winners in that round of Fast Money. So, in the big house tonight, Claire Hooper, Will Anderson and Frank Woodley scored a very juicy 70 points. Squeezing by Mikey Robbins, Corinne Grant and Reginald D. Hunter on 61 points. Remember, 10.com.au/GNW for all your Good News Week needs. Stuff you don't see on TV, stuff you can't see on TV, and stuff we don't want our parents to see. So we say, bring us back some duty-free Kevin, and leave you with the good news for the week ahead. The launch of Seniors Week will go horribly wrong when the pensioners' picnic is held in the same park as Anger Management Family Fun Day. And Wayne Carey will face court in the US, an experience he likens to banging your girlfriend's head against a brick wall.